Could this Aries stellium be affecting the conflicts going on in the world at the moment, the escalating tension between the US and Iran? I'm going to break down an astrology chart for you today and show you what is significant that could be affecting the current escalation and what could be coming up within the next few months. I'm also going to break down a chart from World War II, the energies leading into World War II. And then I'm going to let you know at the end which signs are most affected by this heavy Aries energy. Now, I'm not talking about the Aries stellium that is Aries season, which is the sun, Mercury, because Mercury travels very closely to the sun, and the moon, which will eventually be in Aries. I'm not talking about that stellium. I'm talking about the more serious stellium, which is Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron. I'm also going to be letting you know how certain planets are aspecting, such as Jupiter, and where Pluto comes into this, and Uranus, the other outer planets. So this is what is causing the tension, and I'm going to compare it to the World War II chart. So let's get into today's astrology breakdown. I've got a chart on the table, a physical chart, so I can scribble on it and draw your attention to certain things rather than have an actual digital chart on the screen. So I'm going to break down what is going on. Now, I've selected a chart for the end of Aries season, which will be around about the 20th of April, just so you can have a look at how this tension may be heating up just a little bit more than the current chart. So I've selected the Aries season because I can show you that the sun is in Aries 29 degrees, which means it is at the end of Aries season, about to move forward into Taurus. We have Chiron. This is Chiron, the wounded healer. Chiron's been sitting here for some time. It's at the end degrees also of Aries, but it's significant. We have Saturn recently moved into Aries. Saturn is accountability, it's strategic, it is about military, authoritarian rulership, leaders. It represents all of those things. So again, very significant. We have Mars also moving towards the end of April, will be moving into Aries. Mars rules Aries, and Mars represents conflict, war, aggression, masculine energy, action, moving forward. So it further intensifies this energy of world conflicts. We have Mercury. Mercury represents communication. It travels very closely to the sun, so they're both in the same sign. It represents the way we think, the way we learn, the way we understand, and communication. So that is also affecting the mix here. Communication between countries affected here. Neptune is one of those outer planets that I've been talking about it's got its own video, so you can pop onto the Neptune video and learn more about Neptune. But Neptune's recently moved into Aries, and it'll be here for 14 years. It is one of the big movers and shakers, the three outer planets. Neptune wants to come in and dissolve anything that's no longer working for us. So moving forward for the next few generations or next few decades, what things can we feel or see in the collective energy that we know just don't work for us anymore? This is Neptune coming in to dissolve our attachments to those things. Wants to do it in a Aries type way, which means take action on these things. Looking at the aspects that they're making, because they're very significant, we have got Jupiter. Jupiter sitting in Cancer, which means it is squaring a cardinal sign also. It is squaring this energy. So it's a cardinal. The Jupiter is squaring this energy, this big stellium here. Particularly at the moment, it's sitting right in between here where it's squaring. So as it moves through the month, before or after, we see it impacting or activating some of these planets as it more tightly forms a tighter aspect to the Jupiter's 17 degrees. And remember, it's moving also. So we have this energy of wanting to expand, go bigger. And Jupiter not only expands, it's generally a benefic planet, luck, growth, wealth, happiness, abundance, but it will amplify anything that it comes into contact with. It will amplify anything and activate and amplify. So this tension area over here, Saturn, Mars, Chiron, it's also activating this energy. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's an asteroid, so it's a wounded healer. So it comes in to work through the wounds and to heal wounds. So it's coming in to work with Mercury to dissolve anything that has been a wound in society and work through that. Or it is activating and showing us where the wounds lie within the world or within structure, politics, the way the countries are run, ideologies, those kind of things. Pluto being, now, although I'm talking about Aries today, Pluto is going to be one of those outer planets that's going to cause great changes and transformations. It will be there for 20 years in Aquarius. So it is part of the whole situation as well as an important part of this picture. It comes in and does it in a more intense way. Sitting in Aquarius, it wants to do it in a way that is about rebellion, because Aquarius represents rebellion, revolution, thinking outside of the box for the way things that are done. Being more unique to yourself. Also things around technology as well. It means wants to change technology, which is why we're seeing the explosion of AI. But I'm not talking about the Pluto in Aquarius at the moment, but I just wanted to highlight the other thing that will be happening. The other outer planet is Uranus. Uranus rules Aquarius, so it has similar traits. Now Uranus is moving into Gemini this month. So that is significant because it is going to be trining this energy here as it moves into the early degrees of Gemini. It will be trining the areas of Pluto, which joins forces. It is working together for a common cause. So it further intensifies and amplifies this energy that's taking place between these two outer planets here. Again, revolution, rebellion, wanting to find an outside of the box solution to bring in great changes and transformations with these two reading together. So here I want to highlight what is most important for this war, this conflict at the moment. We have Saturn in Aries. Saturn wants accountability for things that have been done in the past. It wants accountability moving forward. It talks about the strategic military alignment, more structure within militaries. We're seeing that with the Saturn. Now, because it's sitting exactly conjunct 7 degrees of Mars represents military. It is about conflict, war, battle, dominance, fight for dominance. It is the battles, the masculine energy. It also brings in a great deal of energy, drive, motivation, wanting to move forward, wanting to pursue that kind of energy. So it's not just warring energy, but it's that boost of energy. Now, communication, look at this tight conjunction here. 0 degree orb, they're all 7 degrees as of the 20th of April. So this is a very significant marker for either increased tension or tension with communication, more dominant ways of reinforcing the military in a dominant way, in a action structured way, structured being the Saturn kind of way and to engage in military communications. Or getting your message across, because it's the message bringer. Mercury is the message bringer. Getting your message across in a warlike way, in a military way, in a structured way. So we see by the end of April there is this little activation here of quite tense energy, conflict energy here coming up. So why is this stellium important right now when it comes to tension, escalation in the world, war energy in the world? This is showing the war planets sitting here. We're having issues with communication. They're becoming tense, masculine, forceful ways of communication, or sending messages in a Mars type way or a structured military authoritarian type way of Saturn. So this is exactly what we are seeing playing out right now, but it becomes more intensified by the end of April with this chart here is the 20th of April. So let's move on and take a look at the war leading up to World War II, which was 1939. So this chart here will show 1939. I've gone from, again, Aries season. I've taken the last day in Aries season, the 21st of April, so I can just show you the stellium, but it's not so much the stellium that's important here. What I really want to focus on is this Saturn leading into World War II. Saturn was also in Aries. Saturn, it's about structuring your military. It's about changes and accountability for rulers and leaders. So we've got that really tense energy in Aries. So it's done in a Aries type way, so a warlike way, a conflicting type way, an action orientated way with this fire sign here. So let's take a look at what else is important here with this World War II chart leading forward. We also have Mercury in the mix. We have Mercury simply because it is Aries season. Mercury travels closely to the sun, so it's not a big deal, but it is showing some kind of communication or messages being sent in a kind of warlike way or a dominant conflicting kind of way, but also shows this kind of tense communication that we're seeing here. So what's important here, first of all, we want to look at the aspects being made to Pluto. I talked about Pluto in the current chart. Now Pluto currently sitting in as of World War II, it was in a cardinal sign, Cancer, just like Aries is in a cardinal sign. So as of this moment that I've chosen the chart on this particular day, which was the 21st of April, we see the sun being activated 29 degrees Pluto. Remember Pluto, great changes and transformations. Pluto looks like it's about to change signs though. It's 29 degrees. It will be moving into Leo. Now when it moves into Leo, that's a fire sign just like Aries. So then it will be activating Aries Saturn as it moves through this energy. So both fire signs, they're wanting to work together, help each other for a common cause, and I feel it intensifies this fire energy when we have Pluto activating Saturn. So I think that is probably one of the triggers as well, collectively or astrologically. Just notice we are seeing Uranus and Neptune both in earth signs, activating each other, trining each other's energy. They're forming a trining aspect, which means they're working together. Although, so 20 degrees and 16 degrees. So that's quite a tight orb there, 4-degree orb. So these two are activating each other for their common cause. Their common energies working together. Again, they're the outer planets. The outer planets are indicating big changes to the collective, changes to the generations moving forward. Now, World War II did bring in a lot of changes. It really did shape the collective energy moving forward because of the World War issues around World War II that we had. So this was these two planets working together. Now in the current chart, we see the outer planets that are working together are the Uranus will be moving into Gemini, which will be working with Pluto. Down here we see Pluto again working with Uranus. Was it Pluto? It is, Neptune working with Uranus. So those two, the three outer planets, that's what's important here. These are the ones that want to bring in the big changes to the collective energy, the generations moving forward. Pluto does it in a way that is changes and transformation, a bit like the Death card and the Tower card joined together. Neptune wants to do it in a way that kind of breaks the binds that something has on you. It dissolves the things that are not working for you. Uranus wants to come in and do it quickly, shake things up and disrupt current patterns. So this is where we have these two energies working together to make changes, dissolving things or power structures not working anymore, to do with earth type things, to do with physical things for us. It could even be rulers and governments here, but we also see this is Taurus. Taurus is stability of countries because it is an earth sign and it represents stability. So further along here we see Neptune. Once again we see Jupiter in the mix. Now Jupiter currently as of this chart date that I've printed is the 25th. So it's sitting at the end of its Piscean transit. It will move into Aries. So at one stage it will be these two together. So that is Jupiter and Saturn together. Saturn will be by that time be at the end of its transit through Aries, as Jupiter's moving into the early stages of Aries, but still that Jupiter wants to expand the situation here with, and by this time we're further into the beginning of World War II, or the announcement of the World War II. So you can just see how these big outer planets do affect wars, escalating tension, and wanting to bring in major changes, disruptions, shake-ups, and dissolve power structures or things that don't work anymore. So you can see this, and you might equate Germany to Iran. So we're seeing this energy playing out once again. So, and again, the astrology chart is not the same, but it's similar. And the similarities here are this Saturn playing a very big part because of the military and the authoritarian structure to it. And we see the energies of the outer planets playing into it through aspecting energy. So very, very similar. So the most obvious sign here that will be affected by this transit is going to be Aries. Aries, because this is taking place in your first house. So you're going to feel this in a big way. I would also say second to this would be opposition, which will be Libra ascendant signs. You're going to feel this also because this is all taking place directly across from your first house, Libra. So this, you'll be feeling this perhaps even on a personal level. You could be feeling this in relationships or people around you. You could be noticing a bit more tension or a bit more aggression in relationships, struggles with communication around relationships, because this is seventh house of relationships that sit opposite Aries. So Aries for you, Libra, is obviously your seventh house. So this will be taking place around relationships that affect you on a personal level. This is not world event. This is a personal level. So you're going to feel this also if you're a Libra ascendant. The other two signs that will be deeply feeling this energy will be the other cardinal signs. They will be forming a squaring aspect to this tension that's taking place in Aries. Next planet I think that's going to be affecting this also quite heavily will be Cancer. Cancer, you'll be forming a squaring aspect to this Aries stellium that's taking place. You may be feeling this in your 10th house if you're an ascendant Cancer, which means your public role, your job you do, your career, what you're known for, your public face. This is where you can be feeling it now, because you've got Jupiter sitting in your first house. This is why I've selected you as the third most sign that's going to be third most affected by this transit, because of that aspect to the planet Jupiter sitting in your first house. The planet Jupiter is expansion, growth. It expands whatever it hits or activates in a positive way or a negative way. So it expands on anything. Generally, Jupiter is a benefic and considered lucky, growth, expansion, abundance, wealth, kind of happiness, joy, positivity, but it will activate whatever it comes into contact with. So if it's coming into contact with Mars, aggression, conflict, competition, it's going to expand on that energy. Saturn can also bring personal hurdles or challenges or obstacles that feel bigger than what they really are because of this activation of Jupiter with Saturn. So that's why I feel you are also going to be very heavily affected, Cancer, if you're an ascendant Cancer. The next one that will be affected will be Capricorns. Now, Capricorns currently don't have anything sitting in their first house. However, they are still aspecting this placement. They're a cardinal also. So that means they will be affected most likely in their fourth house of house and family, your home. So you may feel conflict or tension within your family or your home. Now, on the positive, just like Cancer, the positive aspects here is willpower, drive, motivation. You don't have to look at this energy from the negative aspects. It can be more energy, more impulse, more wanting to make a stand. Now, while the air signs bring in lots of ideas, the fire sign brings in propulsion and movement and action. They step in to say, let's make this happen. Aspecting signs is generally a more challenging when it's aspecting in a squaring kind of way, such as Capricorn and Cancer are. It is going to feel more challenging. It's going to feel like it's a bit of a hurdle to make this work for you or make this work in your best interest. However, you have to this energy is fiery, it's intense, it's motivational. It says, I can do anything, I can achieve anything. So I'm going to step into this energy, whatever it is I'm thinking about moving house or changing career, being either your 4th house or your 10th house, which is your Cancer will be your 10th house and Capricorn will be your 4th house. So this is the energy of more propulsion, more willpower, more drive, more motivation to achieve in those areas. On the negative, it can bring tension, it can bring conflict, it can bring competition. Signs that are going to be affected will be Leo. Leo, because you're a fire sign, it's going to be trining your energies. Now, trining aspect is a more favorable aspect. It is a working together of energies, two energies that want to work together for a common cause to bring in action, propulsion, movement, leadership, showing initiative kind of energy. It's a fire sign, so it means action. So we've got these two things moving together. So I feel the Leo will be affected, but it's going to amplify your energy, your willpower, your motivation, your desire to achieve or move forward, to compete, to make you more competitive. The other one will be Sagittarius. So Leo, you'll feel this in your 9th house, which means expansion, growth, overseas travel, wanting the desire to travel, the desire to upskill your knowledge. Maybe it's looking into philosophical pursuits such as tarot, astrology. So there'll be more of a desire for those things. Sagittarius, you'll feel this in your 5th house because you'll also be affected. And your 5th house wants to make you an urge to be more creative, but also to have more fun, because it's your house of pleasure and joy and how you find fun in your life, but also your creativity as well. So those things are going to be activated. So they're the signs that are going to be most affected by this Aries stellium. Hope you enjoyed this reading.